let's get that intro once more. And then we'll cover those chords and then we'll move forward. Great job here by these guys. All right. So let's look at the line. So we'll walk up starting with this note, which is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is your 5, B. Okay, and then let's land on the 1. So all of this is just my interpretation of what's being played. All right. So we'll do the line. Okay. Again. So we move from that E flat to E. All right. Now we can play this B note as you hear. So what we hear with the keys is not necessarily an emphasis put on that note, which is B. So, okay. So we're kind of staying on this. All right. So again, probably noticed that I played a couple of things, different chords with my left hand. All right, so let's use, okay, but since I played this chord, let's look at this as well. Okay, so you got to walk up here, G flat, A flat. When you land on A, we'll land on a D major chord, and then we'll go from this D major to a sus chord. All right, as you can see on your screen, a D sus 2. So, and then we'll just kind of bounce on that chord. Okay, and then we get into but let's listen through. Oh, before we go any further, so there are some notes being played outside of the E major scale, like D. Okay. Okay. So this D is, we refer to this as the flat 7. Why do we say that's the flat 7? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. E flat is your 7. So if we drop back a half step, that lands us on D. So we refer to D as being the flat 7 because we dropped back a half step. So it's just like being on the 6, which is C, C sharp or D flat, and we drop back a half step. That would be the flat 6. Okay. Here we go. All right, so let's check this out. All right, so we're going to rest on the 1. All right, and we're going to look at 4 chords. Now we can play an open E major, okay, so E, A flat, and B, or we can play a sus chord, okay? All right, we can also play this. So it's like we're playing the sus chord, that's an option. Playing the E major chord, that's an option. But why not just add that G flat, okay? So that's an option as well. All right, but let's keep it open. All right, we'll start here, and then we'll go here with the E flat, G flat, and B right hand. Now we're just resting on this one. All right, we drop down to a D major, D, G flat, and A. And then we drop down one more time to D flat, E, and A. All right. You don't necessarily have to play the perfect fifth in the left hand. I'm just playing that for now. You can use the octaves. All right, you can also just use a single note. All right, here we go. So now we have another part. People from every nation. So there's a walk up to the chord that we want to look at. All right. So let's look at this. All right. All right. Let's look at this a couple of ways. So one, let's do the line. D flat, E flat, and E. Now when we land on this E, let's play this 2-finger chord or just add the A flat in the right hand. All right, so you see on your screen it says E major third. What we're emphasizing is the line with the left hand as well as the right. D flat, E flat, E, E flat, and D flat. Okay, chord, G flat, B, and E flat, and then E, A, and D flat. So, people from every nation. All right, so let's go back. Now, what we can do in this case, in this instance, is use that first approach and then drop down to your G flat, all right, then your D on the left hand, and then let's do that. Or that might be the better route to take. If we're going to use this left hand and play a little bit higher without playing too low or even complimenting the bass, letting the bass player do his or her thing. Now, if we want to kind of complement what the bass player is doing or just copy what the bass player is doing, then we could do the line again. Okay. So you're playing 5, 1, 4. All right. G flat, and then your D. And then at this point, I would suggest doing what we just did or playing what we just played, which is, okay, so your G, C, and E, right hand, and A, D, and G flat. So we're basically playing 2 chords. 2, 1, 2, okay? But we're highlighting or emphasizing these notes. 1, first chord, second chord. We're playing that first chord again. And what we're doing differently, or what we can do differently is add after the second chord, so the first chord, second chord, then we'll go back to that G, C, and E, but let's add the G on top. So it sounds like, all right, and then A. All right. So adding those notes on the top of the chord gives it, for lack of better words, somewhat of an ascending effect. It sounds like the chords are like you're going up a scale almost. Okay.